There we go. Hang on. I need to adjust you. One sec. Bubble looks so huge there, doesn't he? Anyway, hello guys, welcome to another video. So if you just clicked on this video and you have no idea what's going on, I am Catherine, business owner and illustrator behind Katnipp.com, and over the last almost 10 years now we have been building a product-based business, and we have managed to grow it with the team, like my husband and Mike. But over the last few months I have been struggling with which path to go down as a business owner or illustrator, and I actually decided to do a huge pivot with my business and switch from a business model of a product-based business where we buy in all our products in-house to moving back home and getting rid of my two big studios that we have here at Katnipp Studios and converting my garage back at home. We're going to be running a business where it's more print-on-demand based and also digital based, and today I am going to go into the transition and I'm going to go through all your questions because I've had a lot of them over the last two videos. If you haven't seen these two, it might be good to kind of go through there and see how I came to this conclusion. But I've had a lot of questions since uploading these two videos, so I thought today we would deep dive and do like a big Q&A video and get really cozy in the studio one last time, because I actually only have 2 weeks left in the studio and I have to completely move out of it, which means getting rid of this moldy sofa. If you know, you know. But we have a lot of moving to do, which is what I'm going to be documenting in the next few weeks. So I'm going to be documenting my journey of switching over to a more digital, nomadic lifestyle where I create children's books, focus on my illustrations, focus on digital products and more apparel and stuff. So we'll also be bringing out more apparel. I also don't know where this path is going to take us or if it's even going to work. You never know, I might have to switch back to a product-based business. I am really nervous about this transition because all I've ever known since opening Katnipp is selling products and shipping them and putting my art on products and selling them. So it's going to be a big transition. We are still selling products. Katnipp.com is still going to exist. It's just going to exist in a completely different format, and I'm really throwing myself in at the deep end here. But I'm hoping that this will give me a more creatively fulfilling life. I do know that will probably take a massive hit when it comes to our income, but if you watched my first video you will have seen that I felt like I was at a crossroads, and we had just made over $250,000 in our business, which was what we managed to make, just short of actually, in 2020. And we actually did the best. Actually, I think Dean worked it out and we made £290,000. And I felt like the next goal was obviously to try and get to $500,000 and expand it and grow it. And I always felt like this constant pressure to grow and stuff, and I felt like in my heart that's not the right path for me, and I wasn't going down the right path, and I needed to change because I've had the ideas for like books and picture books for a very long time. And I also love travel as well. It's something I discovered probably in my mid-20s and then going on to my 30s, and I found a complete love for it, and I feel so inspired and free when I'm on the road. So me and my husband used to sit down and say our dream life would be to like travel for 6 months of the year and be at home for 6 months of the year, or be in England for like 6 to 9 months of the year during the summer and spring months, and then traveling and exploring the world for the rest. And then I really sat down with myself and I thought, well, why wait to retirement? Why can't we do that now? We're lucky to live in a day and age where the internet and social media and making money online has never been as easy as it is today. So I decided to like flick through everything, what my goals were in life, what we planned to do and how we planned to live, and what my dream life would be. And I did feel like I've kind of boxed myself in by having a product-based business because I'm very much tied to the studio. The overheads are really expensive as well, obviously renting 2 studios. I have my brother-in-law Mike working for me and my husband Dean, he is the director of the company. So to just keep those overheads running meant that I had to keep bringing out new fresh products over and over and over. Yeah, it was just getting to a lot of pressure, and although I enjoyed it, I realised it wasn't actually the path that I actually wanted to go down. And I used to think, well, I'll grow it bigger, and then when I grow it bigger I'll have more free time because then I'll have more profit to then take a step back and delegate the work, and then I can focus on my children's books and stuff. But I realised actually as we were getting bigger, it required more of my time and more of my effort. I don't know, there was just a lot of stress, and I realised I wanted a more slow, calmer, more creative pace of living rather than managing products, managing stock, and just having all this like external stuff, and it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And actually our next move was like, well, we need to move into a warehouse, we need to get more staff, we need to now employ social media people to expand it further, because now I knew how to grow my business to this level. I now know how to like scale it and scale it bigger, but to scale it bigger requires more money, more investment, more eyes, and more pressure. And I realised that I didn't want to go down that route, and we were on like the path to like, right, okay, how can we scale Katnipp to 1 million and beyond? And I've decided to pivot the way I do it, and I want to just share more stories and get the characters out there more. And the way I was doing it wasn't allowing me the time to tell those stories and to share those stories to grow it further. So that's the decision. I wanted to simplify my life, be able to travel more freely and create more freely, most importantly, and get the books that I've had in my mind for a while down onto paper. So I'm going to actually go into the questions that I've had. I'm already 8 minutes into this video. Oh my god. Let's just get into your questions. I'm really going to deep dive here. So the first ones, which is the big ones, is what's happening to Mike, and will Dean and your brother-in-law still be with Katnipp, or are they also going on to new adventures too? So this one has been a big one. So I did share in my first video that my brother-in-law Mike has had a dream to be self-employed and self-sufficient for a while. He actually runs 2 YouTube channels, and I don't know if I've shared that too much on this channel, but I will leave a link to them both in this description so you can go check it out. I am going to go through there now and share with you what Mike's plans is for the future.
It's quite ironic actually, because one thing I did want to say is that almost 6 years ago I was stood with Catherine on camera in our mask office, and Catherine was introducing me to the world, and it's crazy to think this is where we ended up. I need to remember that nobody has context on your channel.
I know, yeah, I forget about this.
I uploaded a Minecraft Let's Play video, and it just crazily popped off out of nowhere, like literally overnight. So for the last year I've been building a Minecraft YouTube channel, as well as I started vlogging mine and my wife's journey, because my wife has also just started her own like self-employment journey, and I'm obviously going to be going into the world of trying to work on content creation full-time. So after Katnipp, you know, it'll be a really sad time to walk away, but for me, I'm walking into a brand new uncharted territory of, you know, trying to become,
it's exciting,
a content creator full-time, essentially, a bit like Catherine, kind of going, I won't be going on the road, but more just documenting.
You will
like,
sometimes with us.
Oh yeah, I will.
So
with
if
Catherine.
you don't know, you can actually see Mike's vlog of us tripping to NC 500 if anyone wants to see that.
Up in a situation where you've got a camera and I've got a
camera like this.
Hey. Yeah, I'm just going to be documenting mine and my wife's kind of life, and just taking it on in like a raw, candid style, and just showcasing the raw realities of running your own business, and kind of just trying to build up your house and your life when you're both self-employed and stuff. So exciting times. It's exciting, but it's also super scary. But
I know, it's scary. I'm scared as well. We can do it. We can do it together.
We can do this together.
Mike's my brother-in-law, so we're family. So he'll be still at Katnipp. You'll probably come and see we see each other every week. You'll see him on our channel, probably on our travels, our personal vlogs. You'll see him on Katnipp vlogs as well, I'm sure, like if he ever comes round. I do a lot of parties and stuff, so we're always doing parties.
And I'm going to be really cheeky and say that I'm actually less than 100 subscribers away from 7,000.
Oh, let's get into 7,000. Oh my gosh, that's actually really good. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean...
So I'll leave the links in the description if you want to see Mike's journey of self-employment, and also his wife Ashley. They also run the Saddle Hub. You always forget to say that. You run a business as well. They're really entrepreneurial, them too. So yeah, it's very exciting, very nerve-wracking, but an exciting time. So yeah, I'll leave his channels in the comments below for you guys to check out. As for Dean, my husband, he actually came on board as the director of the company, so he actually owns half this company now with me last year. So I had been doing it all on my own for a very long time. I think it was like 5 years before I got my first, or maybe 3 years before Mike and my sister that used to work for me. You can actually go back on this channel and watch the full journey of Katnipp. Like, you can watch, and I also did this video here explaining exactly how I went from naught to $69,000, I think it turned out, in my first few years of business. Also, I've documented my full business journey on this channel, so you can literally go back from day one and see the ebbs and flows of Katnipp, from moving out from my bedroom to my first studio, to my second studio, to a bigger studio, to an even bigger studio, then downsizing. We've been here, there and everywhere. Honestly, it's been a wild ride. So this is like the next chapter for us. So my husband came on board 5 years ago in 2020 now, so it's his 5-year anniversary this year. I do want to do something special for that to celebrate, and last year he came on board as a director. So those of you who don't know, he originally came on board to run my second business, Baby Blue, which we have since shut down to focus on Katnipp. I actually don't think I've shared this anywhere either on YouTube, but I used to run a second business which was like an extra stream of revenue, and those products used to be part of Katnipp, but I felt like they weren't right for the Katnipp audience, so I ended up bringing out a whole new like business, and it did really well actually. We made like maybe £1,000 to £2,000 a month off that, but that helped pay his wage at the time. But then Katnipp started growing, and it was good to diversify my income streams at that point. So he came on, learned how to do the products, predominantly focused on Baby Blue, and as the years went on, he got more and more hands-on with the admin side of Katnipp, to the point where he basically runs the backbone of Katnipp now. Like, over time, he slowly picked up all of the extra admin work. He now does all of the bookkeeping, all of the invoicing, all of the to and from between manufacturers. He also sends out email newsletters at katnipp.com if you want to come and join. He just, like, I don't even know, half the time I get like a notification on my phone, it's like, hi, it's Dean here, and he sends out email newsletters. So if you want to keep up to date with the Katnipp news, please subscribe to our email newsletter. We'll also be sharing like all future updates, digital products, special discounts, apparel drops and stuff. So he really runs kind of the backbone of Katnipp in terms of the stuff that I am not very good at. My weakness is definitely admin and doing any sort of financials. Obviously, when I started Katnipp, I had to do all of that myself and learn how to do it, like the taxes and all sorts of stuff. But then he slowly took over time as we expanded, and really I don't think I could have expanded the way I did without Dean's help. He even does like the posts and sets up with the account managers and stuff, and I don't even know how to do the post in my own business anymore because Dean sorts all that out. I remember actually, not last year but the year before, he was hospitalised and Mike was also on holiday, and I also had a business event in London, and I had to learn how to do everything on my own again, and that was a very, very tumultuous and stressful time. I remember I probably got 3 hours of sleep every night while I went through that, because not only was I terrified about Dean being in hospital, but I also had to like keep everything running while also trying to keep my work commitments and sending out the customer orders. That was stressful, but I had to get quickly trained up on the post then. But Dean pretty much set up the whole postal account along with Mike. I think Mike helped him at the time as well, but he does all of that kind of really back-end work, which is difficult as a business owner when you scale. You can do it to a certain point, I feel like. For example, when we had to go VAT registered here in the UK, VAT registered means we paid like an extra tax, a VAT tax, because you earn over, if you trade over a certain amount in the UK, you have to go VAT registered, you have no choice. And this can be the killer of small businesses because it's like an extra tax on top of the tax you already pay. The paperwork that comes with this is quite big, file the limited VAT stuff. I don't know, it's just a massive nightmare, and Dean sorted all of that out for me. Honestly, without that, I'd really struggle to scale beyond that because, like I say, it's not my strong point. I would have had to delegate to another person, but Dean is really good at that. Another thing about my husband as well that I don't think I've ever shared before is he used to work at a warehouse, and he actually built his way up to like a team leader position at Tesco he worked for, and he actually got like a NVQ in logistics and warehousing, which which was really, really handy because he does like all the stock. He keeps count of all the stock here, the inventory. He sends off for all new packaging and products. He's a lot more organized than me. I have to say we are like opposites when it comes to how our brains work. I actually seen this really good meme where it said one's a palette brain, one's a spreadsheet brain. I feel like that's me and my husband, and I just feel like we were really, really lucky when it came to this because it really helped scale, because he took all the pressure off all the invoicing and stuff like that. So going forward, Mike obviously is going to be focusing on his own path and his own creative journey, and Dean will still be working alongside me because there is a lot more things we want to get into. We want to get into print on demand. He'll still be doing all the customer inquiries and orders while we're on the road. Any issues that we may have with print on demand and suppliers for like maybe my books and stuff like that, he'll probably sort out. Again, with my social media content, we obviously have to invoice and chase up invoices. He'll be doing all that. He'll also be doing all the accounts and the bookkeeping. So Dean will still be working full time with me, and he'll probably also be looking into wholesale as well, because one thing we have discussed is potentially doing all the items, or a lot of the items we do now, but direct to wholesale. So it would get shipped straight from our manufacturer to our wholesalers. So although we wouldn't ship them from our studio, we will have the option to send them out to wholesalers and they can ship it from their store. So if you're a wholesaler or you like some of the Katnipp goodies, please reach out to us because we are looking into doing that and having like more stockists, if that makes sense. So Katnipp stockists, and I reckon Dean will be looking into all that side of things. So yeah, that is what's happening with Mike and Dean. That was a huge question. Another question that got quite a lot of thumbs up here on YouTube was, would you consider doing pop-up events? Pop-up events is something I actually bought. I bought some shop furniture on wheels from a charity shop for 10 quid, thinking I would do more pop-up events as we scaled, and that's the route I was going down. Pop-up events would be a little bit more difficult because we don't hold any stock. It might be more difficult, but it could be a way of doing maybe book signings when I do my first books, and maybe doing exclusive items at those book signings. That could possibly be a thing. I don't know, let me know what you think. This is all going to be something that I'm winging and I'm going to be documenting on this channel. Honestly, I haven't got like a solidified plan of what I am or aren't going to do. I kind of like the idea of possibly doing like book signings at conventions maybe, and maybe getting some books in and selling them and signing them, maybe something like that. I don't know, let me know what your thoughts are on there. But in terms of like product events, no, I find them actually really, really stressful. When I first started Katnipp, I did a lot of craft fairs and conventions, and they're tiring. Kudos to anyone who does conventions and craft fairs. They are hard work, very hard work, and are focused mainly online. So I got another question that says, what advice would you give to someone running a similar small business that's working towards full time with their business, knowing what you know now? When you took that leap, would you have done anything differently? And I also got a question saying, do I regret like the direction I've took? And absolutely categorically no, I do not regret it. It has been the best 9.5 years of my life. The experience and skill sets that I've grown by growing a small business has been completely invaluable. And to be honest, without having this knowledge, this business knowledge that I've accumulated, I don't think I'd be able to take the leap into what I'm going to do going forward, because I now kind of know how to make money, because I've learned the skills of making money and of growing a business. Yeah, I'm not like a multi-millionaire or anything like that, but I've definitely exceeded my own expectations. When I first ever started this, all I actually wanted to do was make minimum wage doing what I loved. I come from a very working class background. We don't come from money at all, so I had no idea how to like build a business or anything like that, and these skills were something that I grew over time and have been completely invaluable to me. Even making products and stuff, I think this is really going to help me actually going forward if I do license my products or work with maybe stockists or manufacturers. I would have more of an insight of exactly how it is to create a product, because I've got it all, and I know what sells as well, which is great. I like doing this over 9 years. I've seen what people have resonated with Katnipp, and this has given me more confidence to go forward with my children's books. Without doing this and experimenting with hundreds and hundreds of different products, I would never have known what resonates with people, and I would not change anything I've done for the world. Like, I have zero regrets. And if your goal and dream is to have a small product-based business doing what you love, then I would say keep going for it. It has gave me so much skill, so much knowledge, so much fun as well. It's just I realized while I was at this crossroads of whether I wanted to go into the next step of scaling my business to 1 million with a product-based business like a warehouse, or whether I wanted to scale Katnipp in a different direction by doing books and licensing. And I realized that was more me and who I was as a person than the product-based business. I realized that I wasn't really one for wanting to have like my own warehouse. I thought that's what I wanted. I thought that's what was getting next, but I had this internal pressure and stress building up, and I realized that was the stress that I was having. I wasn't actually listening to my heart, and actually I preferred a slower, more peaceful life of travel and creativity on the road or at home, creating books, creating stories, and stuff like that. So this is the route I'm going to take next. However, I might change my mind in 5 years. We all change our mind, and I could have a warehouse in 10 years, who knows? But I don't know if that'll be the case or not, or whether I'll expand more as an artist rather than a business owner and a brand owner. So yeah, I still don't regret it, and I think a lot of people still want that product-based business in a warehouse and would love a team and a staff. But I just realised that actually the art and the travel and the inspiration and the telling stories through my vlogs, through books, through comics, connecting with you guys was actually more fulfilling for me than having like a warehouse and staff. But some people thrive, like entrepreneurs thrive in that environment, and I realized that I didn't. I was more of a creative than I was like a serial entrepreneur who was always like, right, let's get to 1 million, let's get to 2 million. I'm more focused on like the creativity. I would rather focus on creating books and challenging myself to give stories that hopefully put a smile on people's face. I say children's books, but I'm actually thinking of calling them picture books. So it's not just going to be for children, it's going to be for adults as well. I collect children's books or picture books because I find them beautiful, inspiring, and a lot of them have lovely stories or funny, wholesome stories, and I'm hoping that's what I can create and give to you guys. Yeah, no regrets. And I would say keep going for it, keep experimenting, keep trying new things, because you never know what your next product range might be, if it's going to be a success. You always have to be willing to fail as well, and adapting, and yeah, experimentation and developing new skills. This would have been a good time to plug a Skillshare sponsorship. Anyway, speaking of Skillshare, someone actually mentioned if I would do another Skillshare class. So for those of you who don't know, I actually had my first Skillshare class that I did last year, which was how to pick a brand name. And yes, I am thinking of doing more Skillshare classes. I want to do how to develop an illustration style, how to build a small business. Let me know what Skillshare classes you guys would like to see. I think it'd be really helpful. I have garnered a lot of information and skills over the last 9.5, almost 10 years now, and I feel ready to kind of share it. Before I didn't, because I was like in the thick of it, but now this chapter is closed and I can look back and really teach people what I learned along the way. So let me know what classes you would actually like to see. And I'll also be doing tutorials on this channel, which was also a question that came up quite often on this, whether I'll be doing tutorials, and yes, I would love to. I'm actually thinking of doing some tutorials on my machines as well, for those of you who want to still do a product-based business and want to know how to make mouse mats and stuff. I already have a few. I have how to print mugs, how to print mouse mats on this channel if you want to check them out, but I will be doing more tutorials as well. I need to pee. I'm having a pee break. Ugh, be right back. Alright. Well, let's see. Do you think you'll ever consider opening a physical store again? I have no idea. Like I mentioned earlier, my thoughts and feelings are always changing and ebbing and flowing. I think people are so resistant to change, and they're like, oh, well, you said this last year and now you're not doing this. But things change and you learn a lot about yourself as you grow, so I'm never going to say never, But at the moment, that is not on the cards, but you never know. I just don't know where my future will take me. I don't know what will come up, if I'll change my mind, if I go and live this lifestyle that I think I want to live and then I realise that I really miss the studio and then have to like start a product-based business again. I don't know what that's going to entail, so I guess you'll just have to follow along on the journey and see what happens. I have no idea. At the moment, I can't see that happening, but again, like I say, you never know what's going to happen. So, but when I really close my eyes and visualize what I want out of life, like the things that give me the most fulfillment, I always go back to this image of me in like this like English cottage, and there's like lots of flowers and stuff, and there's a cat, and I'm like drawing, and I'm older and I'm drawing by a window and the sun's coming in. I always go back to that image. Like that image is the first image that like pops into my mind, and I don't know why. So yeah, that seems to just be like the future that I want to kind of work towards, I guess, like a peaceful, more slower, creative life, and also travel too. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. When you say move back home, do you mean with family members? So I basically just mean in my house, like me and my husband own my house, and my brother actually lives with me, and I just mean going like back home rather than renting these 2 studios that are in this office block that we currently rent. So we'll be getting rid of our rented studios and we'll be converting our garage, which leads me on to another question actually, which was, will I be showing the home office, and how big is the new space for your home studio? Is your garage already converted for a business setup? No, it's not converted at all. It is a complete just garage. I will share it with you because I'm going to have to move this office at home and create a temporary home office, and I'll show you the garage. It is purely a raw brick garage, so it is going to take quite a few months to even convert. We need to still reach out to builders to convert it, so I'm going to be taking you guys along on the progress. I would love it to be converted by September, but ideally before Christmas, at least having the garage converted by then so we have a space to work from. For now though, I have got a gym room, which I barely ever use, that I'm going to convert into a very small office space for me for working back at home. And it's just a standard single garage size, so it's not huge, but I don't need it to be huge. I just want a nice desk area of pens, a his and hers desk for me and Dean to work together. I'm going to do like a wall of shelves with all my gachapon and books that inspire me and stuff like that, and a space potentially for products. But yeah, and speaking of potentially for products, I also got, will I still be doing products? Like, will I be shipping out products? And I may do exclusive print runs of products. So like I did with Bon Bun. So I did these bunny boxes and I shipped them out and I numbered them. I may still do collections seasonally if I feel the urge to from my home studio and just literally send them off. Oh, a question I did get actually is, I got this question about moving back home before, about my business, why don't I move back home when we downsized the studio, and in that video I mentioned that I can't run from my mortgage a limited business with staff from my home, but now it's just me and Dean. I can't have and run a home office, and I also didn't have the space, which is why people said, why don't you take your products back home? I have way too many products to take back home, and we've already filled the studio in there. We also have the big printer, which we are going to be selling, Ronnie the Roland, which was also a question. We are going to be selling them, and someone actually mentioned, have Roland Printer Company said anything about your plans, RE Printer selling? They've been so supportive and so kind. They actually sent me this wonderful bunch of flowers last week. They are wonderful people at Roland and a wonderful company to work for. They are quite a small, tight-knit company. It's strange, you'd think there'd be this massive corporation, but it's actually a fairly small knit team really. They're just a wonderful bunch to work for. Been absolutely fantastic, and no, they haven't said anything. They've been nothing but encouraging about my new path and my new journey to be more of an illustrator than a small business owner. So I also got a lot of questions about Patreon. So for those of you who don't know, I run a Marshy Club over on Patreon, which is £5 a month, and you get like a podcast, you get exclusive wallpapers, and you get access to all the other wallpapers throughout the years as well. And is it still going to be going? And yes, we're still going to be doing that. So it follows the Katnipp calendar, so you can only get those wallpapers that are on the Katnipp calendar to match And that was another question actually, am I still going to be doing a Katnipp calendar every year but doing it more print on demand style? And the answer is yes. I want to keep the tradition of doing a physical Katnipp calendar, and also those will coincide with Patreon, so Patreon will stay exactly how it is. Thank you to my beautiful Marshies. If you guys want to support me over on there, that would mean the world. I'm actually going to sit down this month with my Patreons and tell them everything that's been going on. And also I think I'll share the behind the scenes of my book development as well, like more sketches. They see a lot of the manufacturing photos before anyone else does, in fact weeks before this channel. I tend to share them in more real time with my Patreons, so I'll probably share my book journey, my findings, my sketches, my ideas over on Patreon if you want to join me over there. Would you ever consider trying to get your children's books traditionally published, or is it a self-publishing plan all the way? I am planning on self-publishing my children's books. However, I wouldn't say no to publishing. So this is something I've not shared with anyone. I actually had a publisher reach out about colouring books and publishing my own range of colouring books professionally, like actually having a publisher. But when I crunched the numbers and thought about how it was going to go, it was actually better for me to self-publish. But it meant my books were more widespread. So I don't know, it's something I'm going to have to really think about. The thing I don't like about traditional publishing is the lack of creative freedom, like things like book covers and stuff like that. So it'd have to really be on my terms, and it'd have to be a deal that was really like in line with Katnipp. And if it meant getting my books out there to a lot more people than I would be able to do on my own, that would be absolutely amazing. I would love to see my books on like in Waterstones or whatever. But there is other ways to do that now, especially with online publishing, and it's something I'm gonna go down. I'll document the journey here on this channel of self-publishing, because I have no idea what that's gonna look like. So I'm not opposed to it, but it would have to be in line with Katnipp, and also keeping and retaining my rights to my characters, etc. So yeah, we'll see. I'm definitely not against traditional publishing. So if you're a publisher and you have an idea, reach out to me. It's also very slow, I have to say. I think traditional publishing takes a lot longer. So I've actually got one book that's traditionally published, and I was commissioned as an artist for a local children's book author, and it is so much slower than self-publishing because it has to go through so many rounds of like editing and backwards and forwards and artwork and copy. So actually I could produce more books self-publishing than I could go in the traditional route. And actually, going back to Beatrix Potter, she actually self-published her first books, and then she got snapped up by Fred Warner, was it, and co, and then the rest was history, and she published all the rest through a traditional publisher. But I find it inspiring that she, like, I think she's my age as well. How old was Beatrix Potter when she published Peter Rabbit? She was 36. I'm 34. We're so close. That's so fun. She's such inspiration. But yeah, she self-published and then it got snapped up pretty much like a year later. So 1 year after she self-published, Fred Warner and co snapped it up, and they still own the rights to it. Very interesting. Literally, I have been filming for over an hour. I don't know how long this Q&A is going to be. I've also had a lot of questions about when my new apparel is coming out. So I have a new t-shirt and apparel, and when Sugarpuff, the final spring collection here at Katnipp and the final collection of its type, is coming out. And we have a date. We finally got our new mouse mats in to the studio, and all the products are ready to go, including our lanyards, and this is going to be our final ever launch in this capacity in these studios. We are planning on doing it on Wednesday, so next Wednesday which will be Wednesday the the 7th of May. So please don't forget to sign up to our email newsletter so you don't miss out, because we will also be doing mystery bundles to clear stock if we have any stock left. We are selling out fast of a lot of items here at Katnipp. We will also be slashing a lot of products in half, so you'll be able to get our Gingy plush, I think, for half price, and there's going to be a lot of sales on, so be sure to sign up to our email newsletter and keep an eye on our socials. That is when we're going to be doing our final ever spring launch. It's kind of bittersweet, and we're going to be releasing those items, and then we have 2 to 3 months of clearing all the stock and doing stock clearances and stuff. Oh, I'm nervous. I've just got like a sicky nerve feeling just with like how much it's going on, and also like a wave of emotion just shook over me there. Oh my gosh. And also our apparel will be going live. Those apparel items will be in stock even after katnipp.com switches over to our new model of print on demand. Our apparel will be still available. We are actually looking into new apparel printers as well, so I'll be documenting that journey. Please don't forget to subscribe to follow along and see how we adapt. I am going to test a more local northern company actually for our print on demand. At the minute we use printed.com, and these are going to be sent from them, but one thing I don't like is I don't like the lack of branding and packaging, and I really want to elevate that. Comment a little sakura flower for spring or a tulip or some spring emojis in the comments so I know that you made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Alright then, thanks so much for watching. I love you. Goodbye.